All right. Lech lecha. Avraham Avinu was told by Hashem, go. We all know Lech lecha means go for yourself. Everyone knows this. And it was going around all the WhatsApps, and I said it in shul. The rabbi even said it in shul. Lech lecha, obviously, Avraham got this command. He was born in 1948, and he was 75 years old when he got the command. It makes the year 2023 when he was told to go to Israel. And so nothing is coincidence. Lech lecha means go for yourself, and like a lot of the commentaries say, Avraham Avinu, go twice. Physically, you're going to go. Here's the key. It's this key for the kitchen. Physically, you'll go. Yeah, and inside the kitchen is the button. Physically, you'll go out. Let's wait for this person to come because it's 9:02. Yeah, there's a button in the kitchen on the wall above the sink. You just turn left. Yeah, you turn it left. Right above the sink, there's a button. On the right side, go in. Can I pause this? Let me see. How do I pause? I don't know how to use this. Someone told me there's a way to pause this. It's a lady or it's a man? If it's a lady, we'll wait. Is it your wife?
No, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so lech lecha means go for yourself. Lech lecha, go and go again. And so like the commentaries say, go physically and also go spiritually. It's not enough to just pick up and go to Israel. You got to spiritually go in Israel as well. So there's two goings here. I saw very nice words from Rabbi Eli Monk in his Sefer. And he said, Avraham Avinu, Hashem told him, Lech lecha me'atzecha u'mimolatecha u'mibet abicha. Pick yourself up and leave your land, leave your birthplace, leave your father's house, leave it all. And go alone, basically. If Lot wants to come with you, let him come with you, but otherwise you go alone. And Rabbi Monk's words were, he said, Judaism means you have to be prepared to break from the crowd. To be a religious Jew, it means you have to be prepared to walk alone, to not be like everybody else. And we see that in current events. Sometimes the rest of the world is not with us. But as Jews, it doesn't matter. If it means we walk alone, we walk alone. There's a story, true story, about a professor in the 1960s. This professor was named Professor Belville Green. Have you heard about this guy, Belville Green? He's a brilliant guy. He's not alive anymore. He was a Jewish guy, but he was not religious. And he was a professor in the University of Minnesota in the 60s. And he actually also worked with NASA. And his job was to try to find if there's life on Mars. Way back then. They never found it. But he's a brilliant guy. Brilliant, not religious. Jewish, he respected his tradition, but he debated the religion with rabbis. And he was in Minnesota, and what's in Minnesota? What Jewish places everywhere? Chabad. There's a Chabad in Minnesota. And so this rabbi from Minnesota, the Chabad rabbi, Rabbi Moshe Feller, his name was, he tried to work on this professor to get him to come, and he would battle him and debate him, and he was smarter than, so this Rabbi Feller says, he was smarter than me. I don't know how to beat him in all these philosophical debates. And so he actually said to him, you're over my head. Write a letter to the Rebbe, and he'll answer you, to the Chabad Rebbe. And that's what he did. He used to write letters back and forth, debating different things. But he used to show up once in a while to this Chabad guy, and he was a well-known guy, this Professor Green. So one time he was taking a trip to Chicago, and he was at the Chabad place, and Rabbi Feller tells Professor Green, he says, listen, I know that a lot of my members are on the same flight as you are to Chicago. Do me a favor. When they come when the stewardesses come bringing food, please ask for a kosher meal. He said, I don't keep kosher. I don't believe in kosher. He said, I know you don't. But a lot of my members, a lot of Jews are in the flight. And if they hear Professor Green is asking for the kosher meal, then they say, wow, this brilliant professor wants kosher. It's going to inspire them. So I'm not asking you to change your life. After this flight, go back to eating not kosher. Just for the flight, since you're in front of everyone, they're going to all hear, ask for the kosher meal. What does it hurt? Do something for the other people. It's a true story. Professor Green told the same story after. And so he said, fine, Rabbi, I'll ask for the kosher. I'll eat kosher on the plane. The plane food's not that great anyway. So he gets on the plane, and then they're 20,000 feet in the sky, and they start bringing the food out, and they come over to him, and they say, okay, your options are, chicken parmesan. He says, no, I ordered the kosher meal. And he clears his throat. He says the story over himself. He says, I cleared my throat. I said, my name is Professor Green, and I require the kosher meal, please. And everybody hears him saying that. Oh, wow, he keeps kosher. He's doing a favor for the rabbi. She said, oh, I'm so sorry. We mixed up the orders. Let me go to the front of the plane, and I'll find the kosher meal for you. Back and forth. Another one. Here's the back and forth. They go to the back. They come back 10 minutes later. She says, we're having a hard time locating your kosher meal. We know that we got the order, but we're having a hard time. She says, would you like the not kosher meal? And he says, at this point, I already announced to the whole plane that I keep kosher. I can't change my mind now. Everyone heard I keep kosher. I can't change my mind. So he says to her, no, ma'am, you need to find me the kosher meal. I told you, I require the kosher meal. Okay, I'm so sorry. Let me go back. She goes back again. She doesn't come back. So he rings the bell for her. She comes back. Listen, I'm so sorry, Professor. We cannot find. There's no more kosher meals on the plane. And he says, I cannot have the not kosher meal. And he wants the not kosher meal. He doesn't keep kosher. I can't have it. I told you I need the kosher meal, and he's stuck. And so he says to himself, curse that rabbi, man. That rabbi made me. What a bad idea. I'm starving. I can't do it. I have no choice. All the people around me are all impressed. And so he goes without eating on the whole flight to Chicago. He's starving. He lands in Chicago O'Hare in the airport. He gets off the plane. The first thing he sees when he gets into the terminal is a hot dog stand. And he says the hot dog smelled amazing. And he doesn't keep kosher. And nobody's watching him anymore. They're all gone. He waits a few minutes. They're all gone. And he says he went to the nearest payphone, back then payphones in the 60s, and he made a person-to-person call in the middle of the night, expensive. And he asked for Rabbi Moshe Feller. The rabbi gets a call in the middle of the night. A call for you from Professor Green. He said, oh my God, did something happen to him on his travels? He picks up the phone, and Professor Green says to him, Feller, I want you to know something. You ruined my flight. I'm starving. It was a horrible idea. I have nothing to eat. I'm in the airport, and I'm looking right there down the terminal is a delicious hot dog stand. And I want you to know something. I'm going to go online, and I'm going to order a delicious hot dog with sauerkraut and the works. And then when I finish it, I'm going to go back and order another one. He's telling the story, this guy. He says, I want you to know, I hate your idea about keeping kosher, and I wish you never asked me in the first place. There was a pause on the line, and Rabbi Feller tells him, he says, Professor Green, from time to time, you've asked me in our debates, give me Judaism in a nutshell. Boil it down to me in a nutshell. What is it all about? Professor Green, the essence of Judaism is keep walking past the hot dog stand. That's what being a Jew means. Everyone else is getting it. Keep walking. He hangs up the phone, and Feller says, you're out of your mind. He goes online. He says, I'm online. When it's my turn to order, I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. He says, curse that rabbi again. I didn't order the hot dogs. I kept walking. He eventually decided to keep kosher, this Professor Green. He decided to keep kosher. He became religious. He moved to Israel, and he taught in university over there. And he was right. He says, the greatest philosopher in the world can't put Judaism into one sentence. What is it all about that we do anyway? But if you ask our children even, my coworkers always ask me, your kids, they don't ever break it. One time, walk into a McDonald's when you're not watching. Judaism is just keep walking. That's what Judaism is. I don't care how good it smells. I don't care how good it looks. I don't care if everyone else is doing it. I keep walking because I'm Jewish. Lech lecha. Avraham Avinu, doesn't matter what everyone is doing. Leave your household, leave your land, leave everyone else on the side. Keep walking. That's lech lecha. And that's what we do. And current events, it doesn't matter what anyone else says. And if the whole world's not with us, the whole world's not with us. And if in the universities, they're getting up and they're parading for pro-Palestine, we've been there before. We walk alone. We rather not walk alone. We rather walk with everyone else. But as Jewish people, we're conditioned and prepared to walk alone. We're not afraid of walking alone. We've been alone before, we'll be alone again. When it comes to Judaism, majority doesn't win. We hold the majority wins in Bet Din. But in terms of the culture, we don't just cave and bow to the majority. There's a story, true story, about Ben Gurion. Ben Gurion, one time, there was a debate between the religious and the non-religious in Israel. Shocking. And Ben Gurion one time went to the Hazon Ish to debate this question about the Haredim and the Hilonim, what to do. And Hazon Ish was battling him and fighting him back. And Ben Gurion tells the Hazon Ish, he says, listen, Rabbi, with all due respect, we're the majority. The religious is the minority. Isn't there a rule, majority wins? Just give in already. And the Hazon Ish told him, with all due respect, I don't mean to insult you. There's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, and there's a Halakha Shulchan Aruch, and I can show you it. What do you do if there are multiple boats, ships at a port, and there's only room for one to pass through at a time? Gemara in Sanhedrin, I think page 32, I think. If both boats try to pass through at the same time, they'll crash and sink. So there's only one. So someone has to move over, and no one wants, Israeli, right? No one wants to move over. And so there's a law for that. It's a Shulchan Aruch. The law is, if one boat has more cargo than the other boat, it gets precedent. Same thing for, it says camels walking down a narrow pass, and they both can't squeeze through. One camel has cargo, and one camel is empty. The one with cargo goes through first. This was the Hazon Ish. You're empty. You got no Torah inside of you guys. Yes, you're the majority, but what's the substance? What's the quality inside? We're loaded with Torah. And so you need to move over and let us pass through. Now, I'm not sure if this worked, but the Hazon Ish was telling him majority rule doesn't matter when it comes to religion. Majority rule only works inside the religion. If you're having a religious discussion, then Bet Din, majority rules. But we don't just cave to the majority. Judaism, we walk alone. That's no problem. We'll be the minority. We've done it before. Now, I really want to share with you, I'm excited to share with you, this piece that I read from a rabbi. He's still alive. His name is Rabbi Shabtai Sabato. Ever heard of him? Smart guy. I'm not sure where he lives in Israel now, but I bought his books, and I'm really impressed. He talks about Avraham Avinu, this whole Pirashah, Lech Lecha. So Avraham Avinu listens to him, and he goes. By the way, interesting. As Hashem sends him on his way, he blesses him. Right? He says, Lech Lecha me'ad zecha, I will bless you. I will make your name great. He gives him all these blessings. The Zohar writes, says the Zohar, how many blessings, if you count each blessing, how many did he get? The Zohar says he got 7 blessings in total. It says the Zohar, a hatan and a kala, when they get married and they embark on their own life to a new place, they also get 7 blessings. So the source is the Zohar. In addition, says the Zohar, Avraham Avinu represents the neshama of all of Klal Yisrael. And so Hashem tells him to leave and go to Canaan, go to Israel. It's like every neshama that belongs to us. All of our souls are home. Before they go in the body, they're home. They're home with Hashem. And every time Hashem sends a neshama to a baby, Hashem says, go, lech lecha. Go down there to the body. And the Zohar says this soul gets 7 blessings, just like Avraham Avinu. The same 7 blessings that Avraham Avinu got when he went, every one of our neshama gets the same 7 blessings. Says the Zohar, hold on a second. One of the blessings that Avraham Avinu got is, those who bless you will get blessings themselves. So, by the way, bless Jewish people. Rabbi Victor Miller writes this all the time. Bless Jewish people. Rabbi Victor Miller says, if you walk by a house and there's a mezuzah in the house, give the person a blessing. He says, first of all, say, I love this person. Rabbi Miller says, say, I love whoever lives in here. You don't even know what he looks like. There's a mezuzah in the house. I love who lives in here. It works on Ahavat Yisrael. And then bless the person, and then you get blessed in return. It's given to Avraham Avinu. Says the Zohar, well, if Avraham Avinu is the neshama, which means the neshama was told, those who bless you get blessed. Whoever blesses a person is neshama. It says the Zohar, you do. Every single morning when you say the Berachot HaShahar, Elokai neshama shinatata bi teorah, Hashem, you gave me a holy soul, ata bidata, ata yisata. You're blessing the soul. When you say that blessing, you get blessed yourself. And so have kavanah, that berachah, Berachot HaShahar, Elokai neshama, blessing the soul, it comes back at you. Okay. Avraham Avinu, he listens to Hashem and he goes to Canaan. When he gets to Canaan, there's a famine. There's no food. And so he leaves and he goes to Mitzrayim. There's one commentary in the Mikra'ot Kedilot, in the basic, general, macro level commentaries, who's always critical of our forefathers. You know what this is? There's one commentary that says Abraham made a sin and Sarah made a sin. It's not popular in Jewish commentary to criticize the forefathers, but one rabbi does. Anybody know what this is? Ramban, Nachmanides. Ramban, go to that pasuk. There was a famine. Abraham left to Egypt. Says Ramban, Abraham Avinu made a sin by leaving. How could you leave? Hashem just told you to go there. But there was a famine. Hashem just told you to go there. You shouldn't leave. Everyone else, Rashi, everyone else says he passed the test. He was supposed to go there and he was supposed to leave. Ramban says he was supposed to stay. He sinned. He's not bashful to say that Abraham sinned. Ramban also says Sarah sinned. He uses the word sin. He's the only one. When she oppressed Hagar. In the story when Hagar was getting cocky, and so it says Sarah oppressed her. You ever feel bad for Hagar? I feel bad for her. Ramban says, our mother, look at Ramban on the pasuk, our mother sinned when she did this, and she oppressed Hagar. And as a punishment for this sin, Hagar's children are oppressing us to this very day. That's what Ramban writes. And so the question is as follows. Ramban, why are you so critical on Avraham Avinu? There was a famine. What do you expect from him? Question number 2. Avraham Avinu, after the war, he defeats the kings, the 4 kingdoms. And then we have the famous Brit Bnei Betarim, the covenant of the pieces. And Hashem appears to him and he says, don't worry, to your children, they're going to be like the stars in the sky. They're getting this land. And all of a sudden it says, there was a tardema, a slumber came upon him, ve'ema hashikha, and a great fear came upon Avraham. And all of a sudden, the beautiful news turns into horrible news. I know that your children are going to be slaves in a land that's not theirs for 400 years. What happened to this amazing moment? We were having a great moment, God. Hashem says, you're going to be the one. And then all of a sudden, here comes all the bad news. Why do that? Why change the mood of the Brit Bnei Betarim and make it scary and bad? What did he do to deserve that? Another question. The Gemara Nedarim. In the Gemara, it says, why did the Jewish people have to go to Egypt and be slaves there? What did we do to deserve that? And there are 3 opinions in the Gemara. Rabbi Eliezer, Shmuel, and Rabbi Yohanan. Rabbi Eliezer says, the reason why Avraham Avinu's children got punished by going into Egypt is because he made a sin. What was his sin? When Lot, his nephew, was captured, he took all the people in his house, scholars that he taught, students, scholars, and he used them for his personal war just to save his nephew. And if you use rabbis for a personal use, use holy people for a personal use, you get punished. It seems very, very harsh. Didn't he use him to save Lot? I don't read like praising him for this act. Rabbi Eliezer says he got punished for that, for using the rabbis for a war just to save his nephew. Seems very strict on Avraham Avinu. All of a sudden, I don't know if you expected today, all the criticism against Avraham Avinu. We usually say all the good things. It's criticism. Shemuel says he got punished because he questioned Hashem. Hashem said to him, "You're going to have this land." And he says, "But man, how do I know I'm going to have it? Give me a proof. I need a sign I'm going to have it." And so Hashem says, "You want a sign? First, go look into the stars. And by the way, your kids are going to go to suffer in the land." Immediate punishment. Why are you so harsh on him? He had no kids. How old was the man? He had no children. To you and your children, I'm giving him this land. God, I have no kids. Can I have a sign? Is it the worst thing in the world? Harsh on him. The third opinion in the Gemara, Rabbi Yohanan. Rabbi Yohanan says he was punished because when he defeated the four kingdoms, Melech Sedom, the king of Sedom, said to him, "Take the captives and give me." And he said, what did Abraham reply to him? "Keep all the captives and keep all the money. I don't want anything. I don't want you to say that you enriched Avraham Avinu. Abraham's like a saint. He didn't take anything from Sedom. So take everything." Because he did this, he got punished. He should not have returned the people, says the Gemara, for their third opinion. He got punished, and his children were slaves. Rashi over there in the Gemara says, why would he do wrong? Rashi says he should have kept the captives, taught them Torah, taught them about monotheism, converted them, and kept them. Wow. Very critical of Avraham Avinu. Everyone is really very critical of Avraham Avinu. Very, very tough. And because of these reasons, it's a question which one, he got punished. Another question. It says straight out in Pirkei Avot, chapter 5, Mishnah 3. Avraham Avinu was given 10 tests, and he passed every single test. Look at the commentaries. They all talk about what were the 10 tests. They don't all agree on all the 10 tests, but 99% of them agree. The war, check. He passed the test of the war with Lot. So he's criticizing him for using the rabbis for a war, when Pirkei Avot says the war was a passing of the test. He got 100 on that test. They all say, most of them say, the famine test, check. He passed the famine test. Pirkei Avot. Everything that you're criticizing him for here, it says in Pirkei Avot, he passed the test. And so it's dumbfounding. Did he pass the test or did he fail the tests? Last question. When it goes into the war of Avraham Avinu with the four kingdoms, it gives us extremely great detail. It says where he fought them, where they fled, where he chased them down to. Ad Horma, Ashed Misimol Damascus. It gives us good geographical location, good detail. He chased them north until the left of Damascus. Is this information important? Since when are we saying exactly how he won the war? It's not the Torah style, really. The Torah should say, he defeated the four kings and he took Lot back. No, he went all the way to the left of Damascus. And here's the Hidush from Rabbi Shabtai Sabato. Sabato, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sabato. He says, Avraham Avinu, and sometimes some of us, are given tests in this life. They're personal tests that we have to pass. Sometimes, in addition to the personal test that you have, there's a national challenge as well. Avraham Avinu had two tasks ahead of him: his personal growth and building a nation. Avraham Avinu passed his personal tests with flying colors. But he had another objective he was supposed to do. He was supposed to take this land, and he was supposed to build a nation in Israel. That test, he kept deflecting and pushing it off. And so while he passed his personal challenges, he failed on a nationalist perspective. And if you go through this way of thinking, go back to each of the questions. There was a famine in the land. Avraham Avinu decided to leave and go to Mitzrayim. Says Pirkei Avot, he passed the test of the famine. Says the Ramban, he sinned. Which one is it? On a personal level, he passed. On a national level, Hashem just told you you're going to build a nation in this land. Why are you leaving the land when there's a famine? Personally, you're a great person. Nationally, build a nation in here. Don't leave. And we go into the other question as well. The three people that criticize him. Rabbi Eliezer says, you used the soldiers, you used these rabbis, Talmidei Chachamim, for a war just to capture Lot. On a personal level, you did a great job. You took your nephew. But on a nationalistic level, you had these soldiers, 318 rabbis. You can't just use them for a personal fight, for a family affair. You can use them for milchemet mitzvah, for a war of a mitzvah, such as conquering the land of Israel. When you went out to war with the 318 guys, that was beautiful. You were supposed to take Lot and take the entire land of Israel. That's what you're supposed to use these guys for. When you took Lot and stopped, you showed everyone you're not after the land of Israel, which you're supposed to get by God's command. And so therefore, you use these rabbis for nothing. Point two, Shemuel. You doubted Hashem. You just beat 4 kingdoms. God comes to you, and if you look at the pasuk, it's delicious. Because the pasuk says, I have given you this land. Lecha. I have given to you this land. B'me'edah, how do I know that I will get it? And then he says, you know what? Your children will get it. You don't think you could do it after the success you just had in the war? You beat the war 99%. Go finish the 1% and take the land now. No, you let it go. It's going to your children. They're going to have to go through Egypt and go through the whole natural current events as we know it. The third explanation. The third explanation was Rabbi Yohanan, who said he was punished for what? Because he returned the people to Sodom. You took these people out of Sodom and you gave them back. From a personal level, you're a gem. You don't take captives. You're not in the hostage business. You're so nice. You don't take money or riches or anything from anyone. But from a nation building perspective, from a nationalist perspective, these are your citizens of the new country I promised you. Why would you give them back to Sodom? So they go do Sodom things in Sodom? Take these people, put them in the land of Israel that I told you is yours, and build a nation. Why does it have to go through such detail to tell us where he conquered? Yeah, he went all the way up to the left of Damascus to teach you and say, look how well he did in the war. He conquered the whole vertical line of Israel up to Damascus. That's Syria. He took the whole north of Israel. All he had to do was go west to the sea, and he would have taken the whole land. Avraham Avinu, why did you conquer the entire land of Israel when you had it? Why did you give it back? Says this rabbi, you passed with flying colors on a personal level. You're the nicest person that ever lived. But from a nationalist perspective, it was your job to build a nation. It wasn't your job to be nice. It was your job to take the land and build it and cultivate it and build a civilization, build a holy land. And if you would have done that, we wouldn't have to have gone to Egypt. And we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now. We would have had it the right way. This piece that I read from this rabbi blew my mind. He didn't write it now. He didn't write it 2 weeks ago on October 7th. He wrote this years ago. And all I can think about, and I'm not a prophet, and I'm not Avraham Avinu certainly. You can define this as you wish. But just think about the current events in Israel. It's not always the time to be a nice guy. You could be the nicest person and win the Nobel Peace Prize. Congratulations, you passed that. But you failed the nationalist perspective. We're relying on you to build a nation. You gave it back? Why'd you give it back? I thought this is unbelievably apropos to the time that we're in now. And as we have both lessons from today's talk, they both come into play. Lech Lecha means we walk alone sometimes. We're criticized by the world. Majority doesn't win. We don't really care what they said. It would be nice if we walked with them, and one day they will walk with us, one day, as all the prophets say, Mashiach. But until then, Lech Lecha, Avraham Avinu showed us, I'll walk alone. They don't have to walk with me. And on the other hand, Abraham is criticized for not taking the entire land, building the civilization in a holy way, the way it's supposed to be. Why are we giving land back to Sodom? These two things today, put together, really changed the way that I look at the situation that's going on in Israel right now. Is it in my hands or your hands to do any of this? No. But if you're a leader, if you're the Avraham of today, if you're the leader, you have to think about two objectives: the personal objective and the nationalist objective. You have two jobs. One of them is not enough. That's all I have for today. Think about it during the week. Have a nice week. Welcome back, everyone. We'll see you next time. Unbelievable, huh? Let me turn this thing off.